Today we are taking a closer look at the CYCPLUS AS2 Pro electric mini pump. This automatic tire inflator promises a couple of benefits to the traditional mini pumps. So let's unbox this thing, test it out, and I'll tell you what I think. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. To begin with, let's take this thing out of the box and see what's included. So first thing, a little plastic pouch, the instructions that we are not going to need, a little bag of accessories, and of course the mini pump with a little warning sticker that we are going to take off right away. High temp nozzle, hot caution. All right, so with everything out of the box, let's take a look at the accessories first. So there's a couple of things that are included. A USB-C to USB-C charging cable, a Presta to Schrader valve adapter, another O-ring, and one of these little nozzles that allows you to pump up your basketball, football, whatever you want. So that's quite nice. And now let's take a look at the actual mini pump. And the pump comes with a little silicone case that you can take off. First thoughts, this feels quite nice in the hand. Pretty sturdy, not cheap whatsoever. Everything seems to be metal, like the ring here. That seems to be threaded metal as well. So that is the actual pump. And before we do anything, let's take a look at the weight of this little thing. So let's get a scale. The claimed weight is 120 grams. It comes out at pretty much 137 grams. So a little bit heavier, but that could be the silicone thing. Let's compare that to a traditional mini pump, which is with a little holding strip here, comes out at 97 grams or 96.6. So this thing is a bit heavier than the mini pump, but as you know, the weight is not the main reason why you would get such an electric mini pump. But before we continue, let me disclose to you that CYCPLUS was so nice as to send this product to me. They asked me whether I wanted to take a look at this, and as I have no previous experience in electric mini pumps, I was quite intrigued. So the product was sent to me for free, but CYCPLUS does not know what I'm going to talk about, nor have I been compensated financially in any other way. So with that out of the way, let's continue. But why would you even get an electric mini pump? These manual mini pumps work pretty well, don't they? Well, there are a couple of benefits to these electric mini pumps. First of all, they claim to be a lot more convenient when it comes to pumping up your tires on the road. Whether that's true, we will find out in a second. And not just that, these mini pumps claim to be much faster than normal manual mini pumps. Another claim that we will test out in a bit. So instead of you sitting there and pumping the tiny little pumps, these ones you just stick on the valve, press go, and then it inflates automatically. And with that being said, let's actually take a look at the UI and the functionality of this thing. So first of all, let's turn it on. Here we go. And as you can see on the B-roll shots, you have a little display here that you can set the pressure to. And to you Americans, before you call me a European freeloading communist, well, by pressing the plus and minus button together, you can switch from bars to PSI. So no worries. But with that out of the way, you can actually pretty precisely take the exact pressure that you want to have in your tire. And when you press this little button here, this little mini pump is supposed to pump up your tire to the exact pressure that you have selected here on the display within the realm of plus minus 1 PSI. So in theory, this seems pretty convenient and pretty nice. You just stick it on the valve, select the pressure you want, press go, and then it's supposed to stop automatically once it reached the desired pressure. Pretty nice actually. But now we have talked enough about the theoretical advantages of these little electric mini pumps. So let's actually test it out. So let's go to the studio and check it out. All right, first go with the mini pump and go. Gotta put that in here on this one. Aiming for about 2.8 bars. Not quite. And it is quite tough. 1 minute 36. All right, here we go. That should be it. And here we go, 2 minutes and 36. So that is the time to beat here. And now the second round with the electronic mini pump. So without further ado, let's go. And it's on. Here we go. It is quite loud. Right, great. Here we go. Take it off. Close the valve. And here we go. 1 minute 21, which is, well, about a minute faster. So back at the desk, you have seen that this was actually much more convenient and much quicker than the manual mini pump. So in terms of that, these little things are definitely a win. If this has already convinced you to check it out, there's a link in the description below where you get a 5% discount using the code NICK. Check it out. As you have seen, the advantages, a lot of convenience, a very small footprint, actually smaller than a normal mini pump. Of course, with the mini pump, you can just put it on your frame, but this actually is not too annoying if you have it in your jersey pocket. But with the advantages out of the way, nothing is perfect. So let's talk about the disadvantages. And the first thing is something that CYCPLUS has acknowledged themselves. And that is that these little pumps, the nozzle here gets pretty warm, hot, I might say. That's also why you saw this little warning sticker on it. The reason why I mention it is if you use TPU inner tubes, you definitely have to use these little nozzles. That prohibits your TPU inner tube and the valve of it to actually melt, which can happen. So if you use TPU inner tubes, use this little flexible hose here. Actually, I think you should always use this little flexible hose thing, because even if you use tubeless, for example, like I do, it is much easier to find the perfect angle. Another disadvantage is very hard to miss, and that is it is extremely loud. If you leave the house early and your partner is still sleeping, this can wake them up and make them quite angry. Keep that in mind when using this little thing. That is not the only disadvantage though. The convenience does come at a price, and the price currently sits at about 100 bucks. So around 100 euros or 110 or so US dollars. Whether that's worth it to you, well, only you can answer that question. But it is substantially more expensive than just a simple little hand pump. This one is about 5 euros or so. Nonetheless, you don't have to do anything when pumping up your tire here, so that is nice. If you're fine with the price and the weight is something that bothers you, well, CYCPLUS has 3 different options of these little things that you can choose. There's a lighter version than this one, which is a bit less capable. There's the middle version, which is this one, the AS2 Pro, and there's an even larger version, which could be nice for mountain biking, for example. Now you might ask, how often can I actually inflate my tire with that? And that depends on a couple of factors. Whether you have a 700Z or 650B tire, whether you run big tires or small tires. For me personally, I've mostly tested it on a 700C 35mm tire, the one that we have used in our testing here. And I could inflate my tire 4 to 5 times until the battery was empty from 100. But no matter what tire, pressure, rim combination you are riding, you can expect to get about 3 to 6 charges with one full battery. So that is quite nice. But with all of that out of the way, let's get to the question, do you actually need this thing? And the answer is definitely not. These traditional manual hand pumps work very well and are very cost effective, but, and that is a big but, if you like convenience, this is a very, very nifty thing. I use it for pretty much all of my rides now, but not on my ride. I really like to keep my little mini pump on the ride. I actually use it because of the digital gauge and the automatic disengagement when you reach your desired pressure. So what I just do before I go out on a ride, I just check it, pump it up to the exact bar pressure that I need, and then I'm good to go. So I don't have to faff about with my big pump. I can just use this little thing, which is a lot more convenient and also a lot faster than taking out my big pump. So in terms of that, it's a really nice little addition to my kit. This thing does exactly what it's supposed to, and it works very, very well. The materials feel sturdy, everything feels well made. So it is a little novelty item that will give you a smile once you use it. And for that, I think it's a great product. If you can't or don't want to afford this little thing, well, mini pumps are still a great way to go. But in terms of convenience, this thing wins over this one any day. So again, if you're interested in this, check out the link in the description. It is a way to help out the channel because I do get a kickback from this affiliate link. And I hope you have gotten anything out of the video. If you did, please consider liking or subscribing. And in any case, have a great week. Bye bye.